They didn't miss him today in the end.
No, they didn't. They are truly awesome, Mark. You're right. It's been a magnificent season. They've been very consistent. A little blip mid-season. Started very well, but they've finished. They've just powered. Absolutely powered. Blown everyone else away.
And of course they now have emulated Manchester United, winning the double for a second occasion. United doing it in the 90s twice. Well, they call for the fans to wear the red and white today, and the players responded accordingly. Newcastle making their way around the track and deserving of their part in the proceedings. Back to George Gavin.
To the old boys here, but I'm sure it gets better and better, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I mean, this is an unbelievable experience, and at the moment, just overcome with emotion. It's fantastic.
What kind of achievement is this, the double league?
Well, it just surpasses anything we've done in the past, you know. To win the league's brilliant, but to win them both together, it's just, really, it's fantastic, unbelievable.
How has this team come together so well between you guys and the foreigners?
I think it's really a testament to the players that have come into the team. They've adapted to our English game superbly, and you know, we've had a sticky spell, but we've come through with it with team spirit.
That's the medal, isn't it? That's the one you wanted.
That's the one, yeah. With the other one, the league championship was good as well, but to get them both together, well done, boys.
Well done, guys. Let's bring in the goal scorer as well, Mark Overmars. Mark, you haven't been here in England that long, but you've experienced all the best, haven't you?
What can I say? It's the first year, and then we win the league, and we win today.
What is this like for someone from Holland? What is this like?
Yeah, it's the biggest thing what you can dream of. It's the same as to win a European Cup.
Without Dennis Bergkamp, people thought you might struggle, but you played very, very well yourself, and the team played well.
Yeah, of course we miss Dennis. It's a lot of power we're missing up front, but and the weather was so hot the second half that we were so tired. And,
here's the man himself, and he's holding the cup. Fantastic achievement, Dennis.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a great game. Second half a bit nervous because they came back quite well, and after the second goal it was all over.
Obviously, sitting there watching, it was very frustrating for you. Did you feel Newcastle were never in the game?
Well, I thought in the second half they made it very difficult for us, and if they could get a goal, it could have gone either way. But the second goal killed them off, I think.
Can I wish you good luck and fitness for the World Cup? Well played.
Thanks.
Well, the cry is 2-0 to the Arsenal. When you watch an FA Cup final from our privileged position, you are very conscious that history is being made before your very eyes. And this season of all seasons, they will talk about this for years to come. The depth of talent in our game makes winning a trophy harder and harder. And Arsenal have won not one, but two. Glorious for the Gunners. They finished the job today. Arsenal 2, Newcastle United 0.
And the party has just started. Another one for Arsenal. A couple of weeks back it was the Championship, as Martin was saying, and now the FA Cup. Just remind you what's still to come on Sky Sports. Sky Sports 2 at 6 o'clock. It's Scottish football, the Cup final between Hearts and Rangers at 7:30. A football special from Wembley, the final verdict. We're looking back on how the FA Cup was won today. And at 9 o'clock, our Wembley winners. Finding where some of the past heroes have been these last few years. Oh my goodness me. Patrick Vieira. At such a tender age, and what a giant in the game already in every respect. Championship, now the FA Cup. It's a double for the Gunners. Only Manchester United have previously done it twice. An occasion, a moment, a season for Tony Adams to remember forever. There was talk this year that he was going to give up, wasn't there? Not now. Martin Keown, who left to search elsewhere for success, had to come back to Highbury to find it. 2 in a fortnight for him. And for Arsene Wenger, immortality at Highbury. His first full season, delivered the title and the FA Cup. And of course, all the major trophies come to the capital. Chris Waddle, Gordon Strachan, Alan Smith are here. Alan had won, well, virtually everything during his spell with the Gunners. We've heard today from one or two of your former playing colleagues, Alan. This, I think Lee Dixon said, surpasses everything. Do you agree with it?
Because they've been about for so long and they've won everything, but then to go on and do it again and to do the double, which obviously they hadn't before, I mean, as you go on in age, in your career, as you win things, I think it gets more and more special because you know the time is coming when you've soon got to finish. And for that back four in particular, I think it's probably the highlight of their career today. You know, that double side of 71 is a legend at Highbury, and it always will be, but I think this team certainly deserve to go up there with them and be remembered for being one of the greatest Arsenal teams ever.
There's any doubt about that, is there, Gordon? What an afternoon for David Seaman and his playing colleagues.
Well, they've been exceptional, and I think watching Wenger working under a very confident man, and I think the players respect him. You don't have to love your manager, but you respect him. I think Alan will tell me better. It looks like the players hang on every word he comes away with. You know,
he's a manager that they like as well. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
You know, some would say George Graham, you respected him, possibly didn't like the way you wouldn't regard him as a friend, but I think Arsene is a little bit closer to his players, taking nothing away from George. He just managed in a different way. But I think you wouldn't find any players saying a bad word about
I'm not saying he didn't think it's a good bloke, but what I'm saying is to be a good manager you must have respect. Which way you do it, you can be nice with them or you can be rough with them. As long as you've got the respect and believe in what the manager's telling you, and they guys believe in what he says.
It was Arsene who, wasn't it? Well, we know now. Chris Waddle, the Geordies go back to the northeast and the long wait goes on. You feel for them, don't you?
Yeah, well, definitely. You've seen the crowd today, they were exceptional. A few broken hearts again, but it takes stock of it. I think over the summer I've probably been with a few new faces in.
It's been a difficult season, but have you seen enough to suggest it can get better now?
Well, you've got a great goal scorer. That's a great start to have. Obviously, they need bits of improvement on certain departments. Got a very strong midfield. Obviously, I think they missed Gillespie's width today, his wing play. But they played against a team today, full credit to, you know. They've won the championship, high on confidence, and they do look awesome at the minute. And Newcastle were probably hoping that 3 or 4 of them were below par today, but they weren't. Newcastle worked very hard. You know, unfortunately, Alan Shearer hit the post on that chance he created and hit the bar early on the second half, which could have changed the game. But overall, Arsenal always look as if they were in control.
But the champions have also now won the FA Cup. Arsene Wenger and his awesome Arsenal outfit have won 2. The double-double.
There's no doubt about it. The secret of success is having good players. And today the good players were on the Arsenal side.
He got good players, and none better than his skipper, Tony Adams. A mark of respect for the man and his manager. And there is so much more to come yet after the break, back here at Wembley, where Arsenal have won the Cup.
Calling all Sky viewers. This summer we'll be bringing you an unprecedented sporting lineup.
Sky Sports World Cup voting. Your comments, please.
Tell Glenn Hoddle the back.
We follow the 4 home nations on their tours of South Africa, Australia and New Zealand.
All tough, but the England back row, Adams, Southgate, Campbell, what can you say?
There'll be coverage from every round of the Benson Hedges Cup, plus action from the AXA Day night matches. Follow the Brits on the World Superbike circuit. Over 23 live golf tournaments, including the US Open. Super League steps into overdrive for more non-stop excitement.
Ince, now he is hard. He'd make a perfect hooker. Give me that here. I was born to be in Super League.
There'll be a new season of evening horse racing when you'll be able to enjoy over 50 meetings. We relive the stories from your clubs that made the news in Tales from the Premiership.
Yeah, with Hoddle in charge, we can't lose.
Plus, every evening during France 98, get on the phone for the Sky World Cup phone-in, trading your views with the experts. Ring in summer with Sky Sports.
David Beckham, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise? Something in that, is there not? No? Oh.
Zoo time, fishy and you time, the mammals are your favorite time, but you want to tonight. Heartbeat increasing.
It's good to know you can see Bobby's on the beat.
Rhinos, elephants and Jackie tigers. This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Or take a quiet drive through the countryside. In a land where an Englishman's home is his castle, you can still find the odd thatched roof. And in London, you can see a pearly queen or two. It's good to know things haven't changed a bit.
Aquatonic by Fabergé.
Big news! I got you a Right Guard commercial. They need a big, epic Hollywood performance of great smelling.
I can perform great smelling.
Great. They also need a big, epic Hollywood performance of dryness.
I could do dryness.
The thing is, they need great smelling and dryness together.
Together?
At the same time.
Surely nothing on earth could perform such a task.
Right Guard Double Protection Aerosol. Drier and more fragrant than Des Lynam. Nothing performs better.
To France, I'd give my right arm for a ticket.
Get your sound reactive musket.
Take back for details.
My brother's a hero. A champion. Everybody loves him. He's the reason I own a bar. Every year we have a mad race. When he reaches the void, I start the clock. Marco against the pint. They expect. But I'm getting older, he says. One day I'll lose, he says. Don't worry, I say. You'll never lose. It takes 119.5 seconds to pour the perfect pint. Guinness. Good things come to those who wait.
And now, new small-size Pringles. Absolutely stacked full of chips for when you're on the go, so when you can't stop, you can still pop.
The Rover 200. From £9,700, with 1 year's free insurance.
Aquatonic by Fabergé.
Arsenal have won the FA Cup at Wembley. The last three domestic finals now have been won by foreign managers. Ruud Gullit a year ago with Chelsea, Gianluca Vialli, of course, in the Coca-Cola Cup this year, and now Arsene Wenger, 3 in a row for the Foreign Legion. Our pictures all afternoon have been provided from our eye in the sky. We should thank our gentlemen circling high above Wembley. And a very fine job has been done as well. 125-1 for the Gunners for a double at the start of the season, and amidst their celebrations, tears from the Geordies. But Arsenal continue, they're still out there, continue to milk everything they can out of this win. And why not? Why not? What was it Martin said? The best team wins the league, the luckiest the cup. Right now they're the best, and maybe the luckiest. They are Arsenal, awesome Arsenal, and they have set the standards for the rest to follow now. Now then, here's a test for our cameraman. How far can they... No, go on, Righty, you organise it. Off you. Go on. That's teamwork for you, look. It's gone, Alan.
Yeah, they've seen Chelsea do it, haven't they? I thought they'd have a go.
Played as a team all year and couldn't get that right. That's a shame. Right, the man who masterminded this season, Arsene Wenger, is ready to talk to us. He's with George Gavin.
Arsene, you've captured the 2 biggest prizes in English football in the same season. How do you rate that achievement?
Just unbelievable, I would say, because nobody thought that team able of doing it for the first season they were together. And I would say as well we were in the semi-final of the League Cup. And so the constancy of the players and the spirit of the team was became always higher, and they are just unbelievable. They've done the result, they've shown quality football, you just have to respect what they've done.
At what stage did you think this team could be so good?
Listen, you dream always when you buy the players that it will work together, but it would be pretentious to say that you know before. You just have to see and to believe, I would say, in the players and give them a chance and maybe try to find organisation on the field and after let them play what they can do. And I would say they did it well and surprised me as well.
Were you worried at any time when perhaps Newcastle hit the post and the bar? Was that the most important time for you?
Yes, it was a turning point of a game. I would say that today Newcastle was unlucky, and we were in a great season, and you know how it is in football. Sometimes things go for you when you are on a good run, and it was the case today because Newcastle was unlucky. But I would say as well, thank our fans today, but as well express my respect to the fans of Newcastle who stayed after the game and clapped our players. It was great.
Do you sit down now and start planning for next season?
Yes, of course. It's difficult to say now what I will do. I would just maybe take 48 hours and have a small breather and after think about what I can do.
You said that you personally would be talking to the Arsenal board about a long-term contract after the season's over. Well, it's over now, so can you tell us if you're staying for a long time?
It's not all. We have a feast tonight, and we have to do that well as well because we had a long season. And after, yes, I will talk to my directors during holiday, during the World Cup.
You are prepared to stay here for a long time?
I'm prepared to stay in, yes.
Even without Dennis Bergkamp today, the blinding pace of the Arsenal attack really won the game for you, didn't it?
Yes, we had. Of course, we missed players like Dennis, and I would as well today say the players who were on the bench: Grimandi, Bold, Ian Wright, David Platt, Alex Manninger had all a great contribution to the success of the team. So it's just, I would say, the whole thing worked together, and no matter who was out, the team always went on and made results.
Fantastic achievement, Arsenal. Is this the best moment of your life?
In my sports life, yes, of course, because to come to England and to win the double, you couldn't dream of it at the beginning of the season.
Enjoy the night. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. I'll try.
He's going to take 48 hours and then have a think about next season. Crikey. And many congratulations, incidentally, to Richard Blythe from Bicester in Oxfordshire, who is going to the World Cup final. He's won our VIP trip for 2 to the final. So very well done. Ray Parlour, of course, was our man of the match here today. Chris Waddle, Gordon Strachan, Alan Smith still with us. I'm just wondering, Gordon, let's have a word about Arsene Wenger there. How has he done it? What's been the secret to this success?
He's confident. He believes in what he's doing. He's took as I said earlier on, he's took the best English football. That's the defence, best back four in the world, I think, organised. Added flair, because you can't play with flair now in this league. He's got respect to the players, and as Alan says, the players like him as well. So he's got a winning formula, and he knows the game. There's no doubt about that. He's plied his trade elsewhere and come here as a complete manager, by the looks of it.
And how good can this current side go on to be? Bearing in mind the restrictions of the age of the back 4 or 5, How good can they be?
Well, first of all, it's the best coaching list in the world if you have a back four like that. Every kid in the Arsenal setup can watch.
However they line up, I mean, it's a steady four, isn't it? But there's Steve Bold who didn't play today, Bold, Keown.
But I think Keown's the best defender in the country at the moment. Different class, but also the class I've got up front. Vieira's 21, 22, scary. Anelka, 19, is frightening. Bergkamp is not an old man, Overmars isn't old, and he looks like he's got to add to it, which is even more frightening for us lesser mortals and lesser clubs.
Kenny Dalglish doesn't want to talk to us. You can understand that he's obviously feeling pretty flat right now. Maybe he'll change his mind as time passes. But it's a long way home, Chris, isn't it, when you've lost? Although with the consolation of European football next year, Newcastle going to the Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah, I think
will they be thinking about that now?
No, I think they'll all be in the change room upset. They say they worked hard against the best side in the country at the minute, and within that day, there's sheer effort. No one hits the bar. If you get 1-1 with 15-20 to go, you never know. But it wasn't to be. But they gave all they had, and as I said earlier, the fans were superb, weren't they? And but they've got a consolation, and that'll over the summer that'll obviously come over. But it'll not stop them in the mind at the minute, thinking that they've lost the cup final. Outside,
of course, does take time to leave Wembley and surrounding districts, but outside, in the sunshine, there's plenty of activity. Inside, well, I suppose it takes time to absorb what's happened. And the Toon Army have to go home to the North East beaten again. 30 years next season since they last won silverware. But the Gunners did provide some double trouble this season, didn't they? Only Manchester United had done the double-double prior to Arsenal. Only United, Villa and Tottenham now have won the FA Cup on more occasions. Could you get 125 to 1 at the start of the season, Alan? One you'd have taken, when two you could never have dreamt about, could you?
No, you couldn't, because looking at that side, and I think Arsene Wenger said himself, he's brought in Petit, Overmars, Grimandi, Anelka, Christopher Ray. These are all players that you think, well, they're going to take a season at least to bed in. So while you would say, yes, possibly a cup, you wouldn't have said the Championship. And no, to be fair, back in, I don't know, just before Christmas, they looked nothing like a Championship team, but they held in and they didn't lose any games. And the form after Christmas has been quite astounding. But in Arsene Wenger, I don't know the secret. I think what he does, he just picks very good players. He's got an eye for very good players. In the dressing room beforehand, he doesn't give specific instructions to his players. They don't go out with his words ringing in their ears of what they've got to do. He gives them the freedom to go out there and play. And that's why we see centre-halves turning up in the opposition's penalty area and having the freedom to do that, because they know they're going to get cover.
Centre-half turning up in the opposition penalty area, fed by centre-halves, if you think back to the final day of the season. As the scene outside, very different emotions now. But I'm pleased to say that for the most part, in fact, I think all afternoon, it's been very friendly, and we're just looking down beneath the studio here at Geordie's, applauding Arsenal as they came round, mixing happily together those that had changed areas. And it looks as though the journey home is going to continue in that spirit as well, and that's great to see. A goal for Nicolas Anelka late in the game, but it might have been a very different Wembley that he went away with memories of. Very early in the game, a chance carved out by Ray Parlour, who I think you particularly, Gordon, have thoroughly enjoyed watching today.
I think he's been the best.
Should have been a goal.
The best right-sided midfield player in the country, bar none. And he's been phenomenal. He's as I was saying, he's got an extra bit of pace in him now. He believes in himself. He now believes he's a really good player, and I think he can do anything now. I think he can score goals, make goals, defend, everything. And how he's not in the World Cup. I mean, I just wish he'd visited Scotland somewhere along the lines. Just be a Scotsman for the summer, because he's a magnificent player. And people tell me you've got to pace yourself at Wembley. Somebody forgot to tell him then, because at the end of the game he's tackling back there. He was up making crosses. He was having shots. He ran from his heart. He didn't think about what the consequences would be. He went and he ground people down who were round about him. He ran them to the ground. And because they were in the lead, he kept going and he kept going and he kept going, and people couldn't live with him.
Newcastle, I think, well, maybe with just a bit more luck it could have been different, but was the pace really the true difference today, demonstrated by Overmars when he scored, for instance?
I think the way they create things, Arsenal always look, they've got pace. There's the first goal. Overmars really shouldn't get it, but he's there, he's strong, he's got across the defender, and he's finished it well. But I think pace is very important in the modern game. There's no doubt about that. I think when you get in the final third, you've got to create, and I don't think Newcastle today really created anything, bar the one where Keown trod on it, which allowed Alan Shearer to get his left foot.
We'll have a look at it in a moment. Prior to that, Dabizas had hit the bar from a set piece, and I think at the time you were saying here that's their best chance. Keep trying to work opportunities like that. Just a bit more good fortune, and this changes the shape of the game as well, doesn't it?
It's a good delivery in the day. It's a good run. He got above the two, but it's at the corner of the upright, but wasn't to be.
And then Alan Shearer had done virtually everything that he could after Keown had trodden on that ball. Horrible moment for him. But I mean, this is the difference, isn't it, between scoring and not? Coat of paint, really.
Anderson did ever so well and put it on a plate. And Speed didn't do a lot wrong. He's, as Martin Tyler said at the time, he had a lot of Arsenal defenders to go through, but that was the way it went for Newcastle. Just at those vital moments, Shearer hit the post. The game was more or less over, I think, when Speed had that chance. But unfortunate. Feel very sorry for the Toon Army below us because they were magnificent.
2-0 when Nicholas Anelka scored. I don't think that Newcastle United will look back and say this was a particularly disciplined defensive performance, Gordon, will they?
Well, we see that ball going to the centre half should be saying to himself, when the ball's arriving in the midfield player, that's bouncing. The best way to pass the ball like that is in the air. So he should be taking a step back there and saying to himself, well, if Anelka wants it, has to come round the face of him. As soon as that was bouncing, Anelka knew that the ball was going to get lobbed forward. How he's come forward a step and walked into it. He should have been taking 3 steps backwards and saying, right, the one thing you can't do is lob it over my head. If you're going to take it into another touch, and Anelka would have to come forward then and take the ball to feet, he's still behind you, he's still goal side. But what he's did is the ball's bouncing, he's wandered forward. He didn't need to wander forward. He goes and sees where his man is and checks him off, steps back 3 yards, and the ball can't go in behind him.
So, I mean, the one that Speed fizzed past the post late on, we've seen. The one that Alan Shearer hit a post with, we've seen. It just wasn't going to be Shearer's day, it seemed, was it?
No, it wasn't. Full credit. I mean, we're all about Ray Parlour, but I thought Tony Adams was outstanding today. I thought he was magnificent. I mean, Alan's done everything right. He struck it across the goal, a lot of power. Unfortunately, he's hit the wrong side of the post and come back out.
Almost too well hit, really, was it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a difficult angle, but I think you just felt that it would need a mistake by Arsenal for Newcastle to really create something. You know, they got that header off a free kick, and there was a period in the match where they were getting a few free kicks and they were looking dangerous, but in open play they weren't really troubling the Arsenal back line. And yeah, I mean, the Shearer mistake, the Keown mistake is very unusual, but he really needed to punish that.
He couldn't say, Alan, that's probably his only mistake of the season. I've seen on television alive. I've never seen him make mistakes.
He's just been incredible. I think the shades of Gus Caesar actually there. Arsenal fans will remember Gus trod on the ball in the Littlewoods final in '87, but that time Luton went on to score.
You're testing us now, Alan, I have to say.
Yeah, well, that's in Arsenal folklore, that is, Gus Caesar treading on the ball at Wembley. But
I think it's highly documented in that
we'll leave that for another time.
Fever Pitch book, highly documented as well.
Let's confirm the match facts here. 1-0, remember, at half-time, 2-0 at the end of 90 minutes. 13 attempts from the Gunners, 2 goals from 3 on target. Newcastle hit the target just once from 10 attempts, and they were outscored, I suppose it's fair to say, in most departments today, particularly where it mattered, in the goal-scoring department. Amongst those players booked, Alan Shearer in the first half, Barton Dabizas and Howie joined him from Newcastle in the second, Nigel Winterburn from Arsenal. Action areas, Arsenal had the better of first half. They had the possession as well, but look, over the 90 minutes, I suppose, is that what happens when you're defending on a hot day, a 1-0 lead? Newcastle had the better of the possession. Ball in play, dead on 58 from nearly 94 minutes played. Attendance, sellout, approaching the 80,000. We are here until 6 o'clock when we've got highlights from Scotland. Got the Scottish Cup final coming up at 6 between Hearts and Rangers. Question today, could Walter Smith bow out in his last game at Rangers with silverware? That's later at 6 o'clock. Plenty still to come from Wembley though, where Arsenal have completed the double. They've beaten Newcastle United today, but the Geordies have the consolation of knowing they'll be in Europe next season. They're in the Cup Winners' Cup. For Arsenal, of course, it's the Champions League.
Tonight on Sky Box Office, Jordan slam dunks with the Toons in Space Jam. Tim Allen